DeLorean. In the early 1980s, former GM executive John DeLorean decided to break away from the industry and build a car of his own. And not just any car. He wanted something futuristic, bold, and impossible to forget. That vision became the DMC-12, a stainless steel sports car with iconic gull-wing doors that looked like it had landed straight from outer space. Visually, it was stunning, but driving it was a different story. The DMC-12 looked incredible, but it came with a hefty price tag, around $30,000 at the time, and a long list of electrical problems. Sales were slow, and even with major funding from the British government and a brand new factory in Northern Ireland, the company's cash was disappearing fast. By 1981, more than $175 million had vanished. Then the story took a wild turn. In 1982, John DeLorean was caught in an FBI sting operation, allegedly trying to save his company by making a $24 million cocaine deal. The company was $17 million in debt, and he was desperate. Although he was later found not guilty, the damage was already done. The DeLorean Motor Company filed for bankruptcy, and by 1984, it was all over. Today, most people remember the car not for its engineering, but for its legendary role as the time-traveling machine in Back to the Future. Saab. If there was ever a car brand that felt like it came from another planet, but in the best possible way, it was Saab. Founded in 1945 by a team of Swedish aircraft engineers, Saab wasn't trying to imitate anyone. These were the same people who built fighter jets, and then casually thought, why not build cars too? And wow, their cars were truly different. Turbocharged engines, airplane-style dashboards, and even the ignition placed between the seats like a fighter jet. Saab cars had a quirky brilliance that made you either a lifelong fan or completely puzzled. By the 80s and 90s, Saab had built a strong, loyal following. Their cars were quirky, safe, and surprisingly quick. But then the downfall began. In the 2000s, after General Motors took over, things started slipping. GM tried to make Saab more normal, which sadly destroyed the very uniqueness that made people love it. By 2010, Saab was barely surviving. GM sold it to a tiny Dutch company called Spyker, which desperately tried to save the brand with help from Chinese investors. But here's where the story takes a sad turn. GM blocked the deal. They refused to allow Spyker access to the essential parts and technology Saab needed, essentially locking the doors and throwing away the keys. GM didn't want Saab's technology ending up in Chinese hands, even if it meant killing the brand. By 2011, Saab halted production and filed for bankruptcy. To this day, it still feels mysterious and heartbreaking how such a unique and innovative car brand vanished almost overnight. Pontiac. Who killed Pontiac? A legendary automaker born in 1926. Here's a clue. The same company that killed Saab. Yep, General Motors. GM really brought out the hit list in 2009. Pontiac was GM's cool brand, the one with muscle, attitude, and serious street presence. Think GTO, Firebird Trans AM, the kind of cars that smoked tires in movies and hung as posters on teenage bedroom walls. Even later years gave us gems like the G8 and the Solstice convertible. But when GM crashed during the 2008 financial crisis, everything changed. The government stepped in with a bailout and a set of conditions. GM had to shrink its lineup. And guess who didn't make it onto the lifeboat? Pontiac. In April 2009, GM CEO announced massive job cuts, plant closures, and then casually dropped. Oh, and Pontiac is gone. Just like that, the brand that once built excitement was now building nothing. To be fair, Pontiac wasn't doing great. The Aztec, yeah, that one was a disaster. It even made Time's list of the 50 worst cars ever. Some later models weren't bad, but they didn't stand out. Sales were dropping. The spark was gone. GM chose to keep Chevy, Cadillac, Buick, and GMC. But here's the twist. A lot of people still think GM killed the wrong brand. Fans argue, why not Buick? Pontiac had the legacy, the muscle, and the loyal crowd. Did GM make a massive mistake here? Let us know in the comments. Hummer. Remember the Hummer? That massive, military-inspired beast of a truck that looked like it could drive through a brick wall just for entertainment? Yeah, that one. It exploded onto the scene in the early 2000s as the ultimate symbol of bigger is better, especially in America. Celebrities loved it, rappers name-dropped it, and if one rolled into your neighborhood, you instantly knew someone just got a promotion or a massive bonus. Originally based on the military Humvee, the Hummer was never designed for people who wanted a normal car. It was huge, it was loud, and it drank fuel like someone dying of thirst in the desert. GM officially acquired the brand in 1999 and ran with the idea of selling these monster machines to everyday drivers. And for a while, it worked. GM sold 163,618 Hummer vehicles, including the H2, H3, and later the GMC Hummer EV. But then, the world started to shift. Rising gas prices, growing climate change awareness, and the 2008 financial crisis hit like a triple combo punch. Suddenly, nobody wanted a 10 miles per gallon tank parked in their driveway. Overnight, Hummer went from cool to controversial. In 2009, while GM was drowning in bankruptcy, they tried to save Hummer by selling it to a Chinese company. For a moment, it seemed like the brand might survive, but the deal fell apart, reportedly because it just didn't make financial sense anymore. And that was it. In 2010, Hummer's fate was sealed. Before we reveal the final three, make sure to hit the like button and tell us in the comments which car brand disappearance shocked you the most so far. Fisker. Isn't it wild that an $8 billion car company managed to go bankrupt not once, but twice? Welcome to the strange, chaotic, and downright unbelievable world of Fisker Automotive. Back in 2007, Danish designer Henrik Fisker, the guy behind icons like the BMW Z8 and the Aston Martin DB9, decided to launch his own car brand. The vision was huge: stylish electric cars, luxury vibes, and a shiny $192 million loan from the U.S. Department of Energy. The superstar of this dream? The Fisker Karma, a plug-in hybrid sedan that looked like it belonged on a movie premiere red carpet. But in 2012, things took a dramatic turn. Consumer Reports bought a Karma to test it, and the car broke down before they could even finish their review. Later that same year, Fisker had to recall every single Karma ever made, all 2,459 of them, because of a fire hazard. By 2013, everything collapsed. Fisker couldn't repay its government loan. Investors fled, employees were laid off, and the company filed for bankruptcy. Out of the original $192 million loan, the Department of Energy recovered only $53 million. And then comes the most shocking twist of all. One of Fisker's IT employees was actually a North Korean spy who helped funnel millions of dollars from the company into North Korea's missile program. CEO Henrik Fisker later confirmed the FBI investigation himself, but the story still wasn't over. Henrik Fisker made a comeback with Fisker Incorporated, launching new EVs like the Ocean SUV. But fast forward to 2024, and guess what? Bankruptcy again. Coda. If you've never heard of Coda Automotive, don't worry, most people haven't. And honestly, that was a big part of the problem. Launched in the late 2000s, Coda was one of those early EV startups trying to ride the electric car wave long before it got cool. But instead of building something futuristic or exciting, they introduced a plain, rebadged Chinese sedan with a battery pack stuffed inside. This was the Coda sedan, a car that promised a decent 88-mile range, which wasn't terrible at the time, but failed everywhere else. The interior looked cheap, the ride felt outdated, and the price tag? A shocking $37,000, which absolutely nobody could justify. And the issues didn't stop there. Coda struggled with major supply chain problems. Production delays, battery failures, and extremely limited output meant that barely any cars ever reached customers. And the ones that did, well, let's just say no one was rushing to post a Coda unboxing on YouTube. By 2013, the company had run out of cash, out of buyers, and out of luck. After selling only about 100 cars, Coda filed for bankruptcy and quietly disappeared, becoming yet another forgotten name in the long list of failed EV startups. Oldsmobile. Oldsmobile was basically the grandpa of American car brands. Founded all the way back in 1897, this was the company that delivered real automotive innovation. They gave us the world's first automatic transmission, those iconic rocket emblems, and muscle car legends like the 442. In its glory days, Oldsmobile wasn't just part of General Motors, it was one of its brightest stars. Fast, stylish, forward-thinking, Oldsmobile helped shape the American road. But by the late 90s, the magic was gone. The lineup had turned into a dull mix of bland sedans and forgettable crossovers. Younger buyers weren't interested, and the older loyal crowd had already moved on. So in December 2000, GM finally said what everyone already knew: Oldsmobile was finished. They announced a slow, quiet phase-out, hoping the world wouldn't make too much noise about it. Over the next few years, models were either canceled or awkwardly rebadged under Buick or GMC. And on April 29, 2004, the very last Oldsmobile, a red Alero, rolled off the line in Michigan. No celebration, no farewell tour, just a simple press release marking the end of a legendary brand that faded away far too soon. If you enjoyed this video, here's another one you'll definitely love. Thanks for watching.